Hello, this is Aynsley Salzman, your local Pearson rep. Today I'm going to be giving you a brief overview of MySpanishLab. MySpanishLab has so many bells and whistles that I won't be able to cover everything today, but I do want to let you know about the latest features, all of the great things that you can do, how customizable MySpanishLab is, and how easy to use it is. So let's get started. So with MySpanishLab, we have the Today's View. This is the view that your students and you will see as soon as you launch into the lab. So you actually have a very easy navigation right through the lab going from each tab. You've got your Today's View, your calendar, your course materials, your My Test, Gradebook, and Communicate. So it's very easy to navigate, and on the Today's View you will actually see the monthly calendar. So any assignments that are due on a specific day, students will be able to see that right away. They will also be able to see the announcements. So if you make any announcements or any upcoming activities that are due, students will be able to see that right there as well. Very easy to manage, very easy to add. And then we've got our e-text, which is available to students. We have the tutorials, we have Spanish tutorials, and then we have English language tutorials, and they're all by chapter. We also have a user guide, so if you're working through the lab and you ever get stuck, or if a student gets stuck in the lab, they can always consult with the user guide on how-tos. And then we have more resources. So in the more resources, you will actually find a pronunciation guide where it will launch an interactive guide that will help students with their practice of the Spanish pronunciation. And then also on the Today's View, I wanted to point out the notifications. This is something that really is a hallmark feature of the lab. You'll be able to see when specific assignments are due. If something is past due, you'll be alerted. If there's an unread comment that you made for a student, they will be alerted. If there's something that you need to grade, you'll have an action item here that says instructor grading, so you'll know exactly what you need to take care of. It's very organized for you. And then we also have the course performance, so that's where you'll be able to monitor the progress of your students. You can monitor them by course, and then you can also go to the student level. So I'm going to pull up real quick a Today's View of another course that already has something on the calendar so you can see what that looks like. I'll show you how to assign activities shortly. And then over here I just mentioned the notifications. You'll see over here a number 5 for past due submitted assignments. You'll be able to decline those or accept them. And then under instructor graded, we're going to click on there. It looks like you've got 8 things that need to be graded. So as soon as we click on this area, it will launch into what needs to be graded, and then as an instructor you do have a lot of flexibility in your grading. You can record your feedback, and you can also use our most commonly used feedback as well, our commonly used errors. So I'm going to click on one of the submissions that needs to be graded. This is one of the student activity manual activities. And then you'll actually see your students over here on the left side, and then you can actually review or grade by student, and you would just click on the name of the student. And then as soon as that loads, this is what I meant by the feedback. You can allow resubmission, you can add your own feedback, you can add voice feedback if you'd like, you can write your feedback in there, and then you can return it back to the student. And then I'm going to click on the course performance in a course that already has students loaded so you can see what that looks like. And the great thing about the gradebook, it's very customizable. You can add columns, you can add calculated columns, you can export grades to your LMS. Here you will see the grades over here, overall grades, the content completed, the time on task. So that's at the course level, and then you also have the individual student performance too that you can manage right here on your Today's View. So I'm going to click back, so we'll look at the individual student view. And now I'm going to click back to the original course that we started with, the Today's View. And then the next thing I wanted to show you is the assignment calendar. So we're going to launch right into there. And on the assignment calendar to the right you will see your calendar. This is where you're going to assign activities. And on the left you will see all of the chapters and everything, all of the content that is within each chapter. You can actually drill right down. And I'm drilling down into chapter 1, We have e-text activities, we've got SAM activities, we have readiness checks, so we have some grammar readiness checks. If you don't want to cover English grammar in class, you can have students work on those things at home. And you can just assign very easily. It's a drag and drop. You just click right on it and you drag it to the calendar, and then once it goes on the calendar, that's where the student will see it right on their today's view. So you have your instructor machine graded activities, and then you have your instructor graded activities. So it will tell you exactly which one is which. I'm going to drill down into the student activities manual so you can see the wealth of different activities that you can assign. And over here you'll notice the icons. You can hover right over them. It will let you know if there is multimedia available. So these are all of the SAM activities, and then you can actually just minimize that, and you can move down to the chapter resources, everything that's in the chapter that's assignable. So within this lab, it's very assessment driven. All of our activities, all of our quizzes are attached to videos. So it's really helping the student to master the language and also testing them as they're working through the material for proficiency. And then you have your tutorials over here within the chapter. So you can assign those to the calendar as well. You've got a host of different options within each chapter, and I'd be happy to show you that in person. I just wanted to get your feet wet. And before I move out of here, you do have your instructor resources, so you can download those and use them at your leisure. All of those PowerPoints and great instructor resources that you'll need throughout the course. So then going back over to our navigation bar, you can manage your course materials. We also have a My Test option. I know a lot of instructors like to create their own tests. We do have test banks that are fully loaded, and you can click on each chapter. You can have your own questions folder, and then you can go within each chapter to see the available questions, and then you can create your new test right here within the lab and then assign that through the lab as well. And then you can access your gradebook on the navigation bar too if you'd like to do so there. It's very easy to pull up. And this is where you have your student. This is you as the instructor, and all of your students will show up underneath. And then this is where I mentioned you can create your columns. So your gradebook is very customizable as well. And then this is over here at the bottom where you will be able to download or export data. So you can then upload it to your LMS, or you can download it to an Excel spreadsheet as well. And now I'm going to click on Communicate. This is actually part of a downloadable Blackboard Collaborate, and it's something where students are able to instant message and connect with their classmates. So we've got that built in right in the lab, and they can do that too if you have Blackboard. It's another option. And then I'm going to go back to the Today's View. And before we conclude today, I did want to show you the Getting Started tab. This is where students, and we recommend instructors, go first when they go into the lab to tune up their browser, make sure that they have all the necessary plugins, disable any pop-ups, set the time zone. You can actually take a tour of the lab and then set up your e-text. So this is something that we recommend students do first, and then that way they're ready to go for the course, and then they are all set. So this is just a very small overview today. As I mentioned, we do have a lot of new features, and in a lot of our Spanish programs, before I conclude today, I wanted to let you know about our new dynamic study modules through Amplifier. We've taken the latest brain science. We've given students an option where it's assessing their confidence level and giving them an adaptive learning environment to learn the Spanish language. So I'd love to show you that in person. It's actually downloadable on your phone now, so it's mobile. We've got so much to offer with My Spanish Lab, and I can't wait to meet with you to go over all of the details. Thanks so much for joining.